A controversial chapter in recent American politics may not be over yet. New reports say the FBI has fired several intelligence analysts connected to a memo that targeted traditional Catholics. The memo first became public in 2023 after it was leaked to the media. And when people saw what was inside, the reaction was immediate. Many were shocked. Others were furious. The document came from the FBI's Richmond field office in Virginia. It suggested that some Catholics who attend the traditional Latin Mass could be linked to violent extremism. The memo also raised concerns about possible connections to white nationalist groups. Critics quickly pointed out something troubling. One of the memo's main sources was the Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC. The SPLC is a controversial organization that tracks extremist groups. However, many conservatives and religious groups have accused it of unfairly labeling mainstream Christian and conservative beliefs as hateful or extremist. As criticism grew, the FBI eventually withdrew the memo. But the controversy never fully disappeared. Now, according to recent reports, at least 5 intelligence analysts involved in creating the memo have been fired. The FBI has not publicly commented on the reported dismissals. However, the reported firings come after previous departures and terminations that were acknowledged by FBI Director Kash Patel in 2025. For many critics, the story represents something much bigger than a single memo. They argue it reflects a broader pattern during the administration of former President Joe Biden. Supporters of that view say government agencies increasingly became involved in political and ideological battles. They point to several controversial cases. One of the most famous involved pro-life activist Mark Houck. Federal authorities charged him after an altercation outside an abortion facility. But in 2023, a jury found him not guilty. Critics argued the case should never have become a federal prosecution in the first place. Then, after returning to office in 2025, President Donald Trump pardoned 23 pro-life activists who had been imprisoned for protest-related offenses connected to abortion facilities. The Richmond memo also led to apologies from former FBI Director Christopher Wray and former Attorney General Merrick Garland. But the controversy deepened when reports revealed that Stanley Metter, who led the Richmond office at the time, privately expressed support for the memo's author. According to reports, he even suggested the incident might one day make an interesting chapter in the author's memoirs. Beyond the memo itself, many religious freedom advocates say the issue reflects a larger conflict. During the Biden years, debates over abortion, gender identity, vaccine mandates, and girls' sports often put religious organizations and government policies on opposite sides. A recent report from the U.S. Department of Justice argued that many Christians felt their beliefs were increasingly at odds with federal policies. The report claimed that traditional religious practices were often burdened by government actions and regulations. Another Justice Department report released in April raised additional concerns. It alleged that the Biden administration coordinated legal efforts with the National Abortion Federation. According to the report, the organization provided information about pro-life activists and groups, including personal details such as home addresses. Supporters of the former administration strongly dispute many of these criticisms. But for opponents, the firing of the analysts involved in the Richmond memo is significant. They see it as an acknowledgement that something went wrong, and they believe it raises an important question. Should government agencies ever monitor or investigate citizens based largely on their religious beliefs and worship practices? That debate is likely to continue long after the Richmond memo becomes history. Because for many Americans, the issue is about more than politics. It is about religious freedom, government power, and where the line between the two should be drawn.